Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, February 4th. And I'll tell you something, what's been on my mind the last 24 hours, actually since the weekend, have been tariffs. And I didn't want to talk about it yesterday because I wanted to see how the market reacted. And I didn't want to talk before the market even opened, but we saw futures that were down before the market even opened. And look, let's not kid ourselves. As Trump himself said, there's going to be some pain. And it's actually nice to hear our president, especially Trump, is hyperbolic with his words. It's nice to hear somebody tell the American people that they're going to feel a little bit of pain. That is the truth. And that's something that the American people haven't really been told in a very long time. But here we are. We are investors. We have to think about how this is going to work. And to understand how it's going to work as investors, think about how it works as consumers. Now, he slapped 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, 10% on China. And all these countries sell us a lot of goods. So to understand, again, why the market is not going to take this well, think about what's going to happen here, okay? So take, for example, cherry tomatoes. These are some examples that I have here that are going to go up in price. Cherry tomatoes, I eat them basically every day. I replaced this little pretzel addiction that I've had, these rolled gold pretzels I would eat all the time, every day. I literally was going through 2 big bags of rolled gold pretzels a week. That's how much I was eating those. But anyway, I replaced them with cherry tomatoes, which has been very good for me. But cherry tomatoes, Canada sells us cherry tomatoes, and they're going to go up 25% in price. China sells us Tonka trucks for our kids. They're going to go up 10%. Maple syrup, we buy that from Canada. When you go to the grocery store, it's going to be 25% more expensive. Tequila, I don't drink any alcohol, but tequila is from Mexico. That's going to go up 25%. Avocados, guacamole. When you go to the Mexican restaurant and order some guacamole, that's going to be 25% more expensive. Smartphones, most of them come from China. That's going to be 10% more expensive. Sledgehammers, another thing from China, 10% more expensive. If your smartphone cost $1,000 yesterday, it's going to cost $1,100 when these take effect. The biggest hit is going to be cars. Basically, cars are going to go up. Most of them come from Mexico now. We manufacture them down in Mexico because basically this is the NAFTA deal that Bill Clinton put into place really ensured that these were, and then Trump really renegotiated that. So he's attacking his own renegotiation of the deal that he did when he was last in office, which is a bit odd. But cars are going to take a big hit. A 25% tariff on cars. So basically, if the average car in America costs $35,000, it's going to cost 25% more. It's going to cost $42,000 tomorrow. So if you could have bought that car Saturday for $35,000, it's going to cost $42,000. So think about it right there. $42,000. So basically, this is obviously inflationary, meaning that it costs us more dollars to get the same kind of thing. We get less bang for our buck. So that's inflationary, which is why the Fed was smart not to lower rates. The other thing that you got to think about here is, what does that do to the stock market? If the price of cars, for example, go up, then what happens to profits at General Motors and all these other companies? They go down. This is why the market sold off. Profits go down. What happens to smartphones? Apple, it goes down because basically people say, I can't afford $1,100 for a smartphone. I could barely afford $999, $1,000. So I'm actually going to look at the Samsung, whatever it is. Countries that, like South Korea, that import the Samsung or the LG models, those become more competitive. So if you're Samsung, you say to yourself, gosh, South Korea hasn't gotten any tariffs. This would be a good time for us to crush Apple, to take some market share, lower our prices, and really show a big gap between the smartphones that come in from China and our stuff. This is not good for the market, obviously. It means that people will have less money to spend. Consumer spending will get hit, obviously, because if you were going to buy a car again, for $35,000, now it costs $42,000. They're going to have a monthly payment. Your monthly payment just went from $500 to $550, $570, whatever it is. Actually, no, from $500 to $625. Okay, so it's $630, $650. So basically, that extra $150 that you have that you were going to spend on taking the family out to bowling or to going here or going there now goes into a car payment and in financing on that monthly payment. So the monthly payment to buy new cars goes up, meaning consumers have less to spend on other things. So that is why stocks will go down, and that's why we are in basically a new regime. And of course, these things are coming at a time when the market hasn't been this overvalued since before the dot-com crash. We see a lot of reasons to be cautious here. But look, we're all big boys and girls. We got to play the ball where it is, not where we want it to be. And as we enter definitely a more treacherous part of the swamp, it's like we're like a little group on Lord of the Rings on some big adventure. We're entering a swamp. We were in mountains and hills, and now we're a little band of behind the markets brothers and sisters. We're going to enter a swamp. It's going to be a little bit more treacherous. We're going to have to watch our steps so we don't slip into the swamp. But we've been in situations like this before. We certainly have. One interesting thing I've been thinking about, and I'll leave you off with this, is when Trump first came to office in 2016, 2017, nobody knew how to deal with this. This was such a break from the past. But now other countries are actually banding together and pushing back on the US. So it's going to be interesting game theory here, how other countries now respond. And frankly, if they start to form independent trading blocks, it makes what Trump is doing a high-risk gambit. But we will see where this ends. Nobody knows the future. All we can do is take it as it comes. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.